Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Shalom alaikum, brothers and sisters. Thank you very much for tuning in on this video. Without a doubt, it's going to be an incredible reaction video. And today we are seeing an atheist talking to Muslim Lantern or Muhammad Ali about why does God exist, and if he does exist, why does he allow evil to exist in the world? So before we get started, do me a favor, drop a like on the video, leave a comment down below, and if you are new to the channel, please do subscribe. Without further ado, let's go. Let's check it out.
Yes. How can I help you? Are
Hello.
you?
Can you hear me all right?
Yes, I can hear your French accent very well.
Yes. Yes, I'm French.
Yeah, it sounds very
Yeah,
French.
That's right. So what are you?
Very
Are
French.
you like what, Christian, atheist? What are you?
Atheist.
Atheist. Okay. Yes. How can I help you?
Atheist, and I started to study religion a few days ago. So I know basically nothing about Islam.
To
I
study
have
what?
a few Muslim
Oh,
friends,
Islam.
so I know a bit about Islam, but other than that, nothing. I have a Quran,
Sure.
but
So you have Algerian, Moroccan, and Tunisian friends or something like that, or
yeah, I have Muslim friends.
Yes.
All of them are from Turkey.
Turkish. Oh, okay, that's
Yeah.
interesting. All right.
Great
so
country, great
go
Islamic
ahead.
country.
How can I help you? Do you
Yeah,
a
I have a
specific
few
question?
questions about
Yes.
not Islam in particular, but more like religion.
Sure.
So my first
Okay.
question is, and I'm sorry if it's a really basic question, why is there evil in the world? Not why can we commit
That's
evil,
actually
but
a great question. It's
the way
not
I
a
view
weird question.
the world,
It's really a
and more
great question.
specifically to animals, is that evil is necessary. For example, animals are forced to kill each other to cause suffering to one another to survive. And I don't see why all loving God would create the world in such a way. For example, why can't God have created the world with only photosynthesis? So that way we can live and we don't have to murder
Why didn't
each
God
other,
create
for
the
example.
world with only good in it?
Okay. First,
He
I'm gonna
actually
start
did
with a
initially.
very important correction.
Right.
The idea of the most loving, the idea of all loving is not a term that we give to God. The most loving is how we describe it.
Okay.
If you
Yeah,
imagine all
most
loving
loving,
means
not
that there's
all.
nothing, like everything is going to be butterflies and this and that, then you will have an issue. Yes. And also, if you, I don't know what we have with butterflies today, yeah. And also, if you imagine that the creator only has one attribute, this is another problem that you have. The issue with the people who view this idea of the problem of evil is that they view a creator that the religious people don't usually believe in, creator abstract of all of his attributes, like he's given only one attribute, which is love. No, the creator has multiple attributes. These are, for instance, the attributes of wisdom, knowledge.
Yes.
So the creator can see something that we do not see. And that's why you will see this very important pattern in the Quran. You'll see the angels asking Allah in the Quran. When Allah created Adam, or the human being, and he's going to put him in earth, he said that he's going to do that. Then the angels asked him. They asked Allah. They said, are you going to place someone on earth who's going to cause bloodshed and corruption? Essentially what you're saying. How did Allah respond? Allah said, Inni a'lamu ma la ta'lamun. I know that which you do not know. The thing we need to understand as humans is that our knowledge specifically is limited. We don't have all knowledge and we don't have all wisdom. Meaning, we can view something, even in our human day-to-day life, as evil when it is not evil. So I'll say the most important thing I want to say is that the default position in everything is goodness, is not evil. Evil is an exception. That's why, for example, you're healthy for the
evil
rest
becomes
for
an
almost
exception.
all your life, and then
He's
sickness
right.
is something that happens to you not often here and there. That is not the default position that you live in. Murder is not the default position that people live in. Overwhelmingly, majority of the people are living their life. So the reality is we're living in a state of bliss in most of the situation, and then there is an existence of evil within that life of goodness. So it is not that the whole world, as some people try to put it. So that's the first thing that's the first thing I'm going to say. Second thing I'm going to say is the evil is relative. Something might be bad for you, but good for me. For instance, we talked about sickness. I'm sick. Sickness is not necessarily the best for me, but it's good for the doctor. Doctor is probably going to get out of business. There's no more business if I don't get sick and you don't get sick. So that is good for him, but it is not good for me. So that good and bad also is it's relative to the individual and relative to the situation. you have someone going and gambling, losing all his money, but the other person won all his money. So maybe it's bad for you. You have a terrible day, evil day, but the other person has a fantastic day. Like he made a lot of money. So evil can be relative if you look at the bigger picture. That same evil can be good for someone else. So Allah Azza wa Jalla, when He says, "I know what you do not know," He also gives us examples in the Quran. For instance, He gave us
relative, not subjective.
I'm going to give you this Quranic example in chapter 18 of the Quran, where Allah gives the example of someone called Al-Khidr and Moses. What Allah is teaching us from this story is that we can perceive something to be evil, that doesn't necessarily mean it's evil. So in that story, you have Moses and Al-Khidr. I'll just give you one of the instances. There are 3 incidents that happened, but I'll just give you one. They were looking to go to a specific place, and there some people in a ship, they give them a free ride, So very nice, very accepting. They said, "Come, okay, we're going to take you for free. We're not going to take any money from you." So they took them with them. Then Al-Khidr, who was with Moses, he started making a hole in the ship. So then Moses said to him, "How could you do this? These people took us for free. And how could you return their favor essentially by damaging their ship?" So Al-Khidr said to Moses, "Didn't I tell you you're not going to be able to be patient with me?" So he told him in the beginning, "You're not going to be able to be patient with me." And there are 3 things he did. And every time Moses said, "How could you do this?" Now, in the end, when Al-Khidr explains to Moses, he says, "Now this is separation between me and you. Now, I told you you're not going to be able to be patient with me. So now let me explain to you." So he goes on to explain to him the situation of the ship. Why did he do that in the ship? He says that this ship, we were passing in the sea and there was a king. We're going to go by a king. And that king takes every perfect ship. So that king, if he sees a ship and that ship is good, is perfect, there's no issues with it, he takes it for himself. So he made that damage, specific damage in the ship, so he can this is a favor for these people, because now that king is not going to take their ship when they cross by the king. Now, when you see the situation, you assume, "Oh, this is terrible, this is horrible. How could you do this?" But this is the first vision, because you don't have the full picture, the full image, the full wisdom behind what happens. And who has all wisdom is the Creator. So you might perceive something necessarily, you don't understand it, you think it's evil, you think it's bad, you think it's suffering, but in reality, that is good for you. You might suffer, you have a very bad toothache, but that toothache is actually giving you a warning, bro. I go to the doctor. There's a big issue happening here. It's actually helping you. So it's good.
You have to fix your
pain
teeth,
and suffering
basically.
is not bad in every situation. You go to you're not familiar with medicine. You go to the doctor and you see them amputating someone's arm, and you say, "Oh, how could you do something so horrible?" But there's a disease that would spread to the rest of his body, and he's going to die. You don't know the whole picture. You don't know the whole wisdom. So you perceive something. On the first instant, it looks like it's horrible, but it's not. And Allah tells us in the Quran, كُتِبَ عَلَيْكُمُ الْقِتَالُ وَهُوَ كُرْهٌ لَكُمْ, that writing have been prescribed upon you, and you hate it, you dislike it. وَعَسَى أَن تَكْرَهُ شَيْئًا وَهُوَ خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ, you may hate something and it's good for you. وَعَسَى أَن تُحِبُّ شَيْئًا وَهُوَ شَرٌ لَكُمْ, you may love something and it's bad for you. وَاللَّهُ يَعْلَمُ وَأَنْتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ, Allah knows and you do not know. This is the important thing, is that God has the full picture, has the ultimate wisdom and knowledge. And that's why these things that we perceive are not necessarily bad for us. Many wisdoms we can see in life. For instance, when I look at someone else who doesn't have something and who's suffering, I appreciate the health that God has given me. And I start thanking God for that which He's given me. That
You're thankful for what you have now, yeah.
So it also gives me an opportunity, a test. Am I going to help that person or not? Okay, that person is in need now. They say he's poor, he's whatever. Am I going to use the blessing that God has given me to help that individual or not? So this world is a life of testing. And because it's a life of testing, there will be good and bad. And if there isn't bad, it cannot be a test. The only way you can recognize good is with the existence of evil. If everything was good, you wouldn't know what evil is. And if everything was evil, you wouldn't know what good is.
Yes.
So they balance one another, and they are necessary in this
There's
world.
a balance between the two.
And that is why we have the afterlife.
That's right.
In which
I agree with
everything
that.
in the afterlife now is balanced out. Everyone who did evil will be punished for their evil, and those who did good will be rewarded for the things that they did. So this is just a summary for the whole concept of the idea that you have. This suffering for us as believers, we perceive it differently. I might suffer, like the wife of the Prophet ﷺ said, even the small needle, if it hits you, it expiates from your sin. The suffering that you can have in this life can remove the sins, because you're doing evil things. Can elevate your status in the afterlife. You can have a better place in paradise because you lived in that life. So evil and suffering, as I said, is relative, and it doesn't necessarily mean it's bad for everyone as you perceive it, and you don't understand the whole picture of this life. This life is a test. That's why you perceive something, it might be the opposite of how you perceive it. Does that make sense?
Yes. Is there a test for animals in Islam too, or just humans?
Well, animals will have basically on the day of judgment, they will be turned into dust. So they're not going to go into paradise or hellfire or anything like that. But animals can be a test for us perceiving their suffering, us causing them suffering, for instance.
Okay.
So our actions causing animals suffering can be a reason for us to enter hellfire, actually. You know, there is a narration. The Prophet ﷺ told us there was a cat, that a woman locked that cat, did not feed it, did not give it drink until it died. And that woman entered hellfire for doing the action. And the Prophet also told us another story about a woman that was, let's say, a prostitute. She was doing evil deeds in her life. And she was walking in the desert. She saw a dog. You know, the dog was thirsty. His tongue was out. And she went into the well and used her shoes and gave that dog water. And Allah forgave her for that reason. Mm-hmm. So these animals' existence is also a test for us of how
you have to treat pets better and the story about animals better.
That he was bitten by an ant and he destroyed the whole colony. Then Allah spoke to that prophet and then he told him, why not only the ant that hurt you? Why did he destroy the whole life and existence? Because these animals and this life, they are there. They exist for our sustenance. They exist as a test for us. They exist for multiple reasons. And they exist to glorify Allah. Allah says in the Quran, there's nothing except glorifies Allah in their own way. But we don't understand their glorification. We don't understand their languages. So these animals exist. But you see, even between animals, because Allah is the most just, the animal that hit the other animal with the, had two horns and an animal had no horns. Prophet told us on the Day of Judgment, Allah will seek retribution for that animal to hit the other animal now. Because it didn't have horns in this life. So in the Day of Judgment, it will take back its right and it will hit it back like it was hitting it. Even between animals, Allah is teaching us, look, this justice will even extend to this animal kingdom. So this is the explanation to the question you're asking.
Okay, thank you. And my other question, but I guess it's maybe not even a problem. I just have a hard time in imagining why has God created such a huge universe if it's only for us.
Sure.
Do you see where I'm getting at?
I
don't think that as
such a huge universe.
Let me tell you the funny thing about this.
It's a great question.
I find super funny is that if the Creator only created Earth, or Earth and just a very small thing, then everyone would say, "There's no God." Where is it evidence? I don't see it. There's just the Earth that just got created. Where's that powerful God that you're talking about? If He was there, you show us how powerful He is. This is how atheists are going to speak if there is no universe. So Allah created this universe. Allah Azza wa Jal says, He's the one who created 7 heavens. And from the earth like them. يَتَنَزَّلُ الْأَمْرُ بَيْنَهُنْ. The command of Allah descends between them. لِتَعْلَمُوا. So you can know. That Allah is عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرٍ. He has power over everything.
Yes.
وَأَنَّ اللَّهَ قَدْ أَحَاطَ بِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ. And that Allah has encompassed everything in knowledge. So this vast, magnificent universe that makes you feel like a speck in a dust of nothingness is for you to understand the magnificence of the one who made you. Allah says, لَخَلْقُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ أَكْبَرُ مِنْ خَلْقِ النَّاسِ. The creation of the heavens and the earth is greater than the creation of the humans. But most humans do not know. So Allah created this vast, magnificent universe so you can ponder on it and look at it and glorify and understand and take into account the power and magnificence and greatness of that Creator that created you and submit to Him. And know how insignificant you are and how unneeded you are as a human being. But He still gives you the chance. He still communicates with you. He still sends you prophets and messengers to know His love and wisdom and greatness. So this is why you have this universe around you.
Okay, so we can see how powerful He is. Okay.
Yes.
And my last question is, for example, I will take myself as an example. I am not closed to the idea of accepting God or Allah. I think it's the same, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
So I'm not close to accepting Him as my God, but I am created, or I am the way I am in such a way that I need proof.
Okay.
So if God knows that I need proof to accept Him, why doesn't He give me proof for myself? And for example, there are some people in the world who are born, live their life, and die without having ever heard of the Quran, of the Bible.
Yes.
So why God would hide himself from these people?
Okay, sure. Listen, these are the super questions. And remind me, I forget the second question.
Yes.
The first funny thing is this: is for me, it's very funny when someone says, "Why does God not give me evidence or proof?" Everything in your existence and your life is proof. Your existence yourself and that universe we're just telling you is proof of God's existence. Is the response to the question you're making. So me, when I have this arm, right, and when this arm is cut by accident, it heals by itself and starts forming this layer, and that layer then starts to close and close by itself, close, and then comes back to being skin again. I didn't do nothing. I'd be sleeping, and this is how this process is happening. I'm sleeping, and my heart continues to beat. I continue to breathe, even though I'm not in a conscious way. I'm dreaming somewhere else, but my body still continues to function. These eyes that I have that are so magnificent, better than any camera in this existence or life. These eyelashes I have that protects my eyes from the eyebrows and eyelashes, protects my eyes from the sun, is there for a purpose. All of these things about me, my existence, my DNA that is codes, actual codes, it's a code.
Yeah, it's a
code.
language.
And it's exactly, it's a language and it's a process. And if you change one letter in these zillions of codes, your whole system cannot function. Nothing can happen. So this existence of the human being by itself is proof. Not only that now, but the whole universe around you. The universe that exists around you, the zillions of stars of galaxies that exist in a perfect system, in perfect harmony, that allow life.
I think that answers the answer you all knew was gonna come, right? Like I said, everything around you, your very existence itself, it is proof enough that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala exists. This guy only wants Allah to give him signs or communicate with him directly the way he did with prophets, basically. That's what he's looking for. And it's really weird, but many people who are atheists or many people who leave religion leave because of such reasons. Right? They want a direct experience with God himself if he exists. Other people who are in the faith, maybe a loved one was sick and they prayed for a loved one and the loved one still passed away, they leave a religion or they leave the belief in God based on that very reason, right? And the fact that they wanted to see and experience their prayers being answered or direct encounters with God, it did not happen. So that's the main stance of people who are mainly atheists. This video was very long, so I just cut it short. So please hit me up in the comments and tell me how you feel about it. Drop a like on the video if you've not yet done so. Much love. Peace out.